We are the Blender community, where business and media mix. All right, I am here with Ulric, the man behind Marblism, and I'm so excited that Marblism has come into my life, as you've heard me speak on it just for a few minutes before we got started. So welcome to the show, Ulric. How are you?
Thanks a lot for having me, Jimmy. I'm great. I'm great. I'm
Awesome,
excited for
awesome.
the conversation. Yeah.
Oh, great. Fantastic. Me too. Me too. So let's just dive right in. How does Marblism work? Without giving away any trade secrets or what's really under the hood, can you give us some of the nuts and bolts of the framework of Marblism?
Yeah, for sure. So Marblism is an AI team to scale businesses, essentially. So we provide various different team members. So you've got an executive assistant that's going to manage your inbox, record meetings and takes notes. You're going to have a social media manager that's going to take care of, publishing on your social media, on your LinkedIn, on your Instagram, on your Facebook. We've got a sales rep that's going to reach out to people. We've got a receptionist as well. We've got 7 of those, so it's going to be pretty long to talk about each one of those. But the concept essentially is to have every single AI agent that talk to each other and do work for you for your business inside the same platform, right? So that's the concept, and we are releasing every month a new AI employee to join your team.
It is really spectacular. Now, AI has been really surging onto various markets for the last couple of years now. I think the first one that really grabbed everybody's attention was ChatGPT,
Of
and
course.
that's grown some legs. And but every time I've seen the latest and greatest AI product or something's crossed my screen, my feed, whatever, it hasn't been able to dispel my two main reservations. Okay. So the first main reservation that I've always had is it feels like you lose a lot of authenticity when you start turning to AI. I wanted to be able to still present myself and my business with my own humanness, my own voice. It's very authentic. My vision for the podcasting's best practices and be
Yeah.
really true to my experience in servicing people as a producer and a host. And so I've always kind of shied away from AI feeling like you lose all of that. But with Marblism, you don't lose all of that. Can you speak to how Marblism helps retain the humanness of the person who's using it?
Yeah, so exactly as you say, like that was for me as well the biggest problem of AI and ChatGPT is that it sounds like it's AI generated, right? So
Yeah.
when you are asking ChatGPT to write your LinkedIn post, like everyone can see it, right? Like, and so that's we worked a lot on this problem, and so we are tackling that by in 2 different ways. The first one is that we train an AI model, we fine tune an AI model on, for example, for social media, all of the posts you've written in the past, right? To really make sure the post will sound like you and like your brand.
Mhm.
And it's the same for emails. For example, to make sure an email sounds like you, we're going to train the AI on all of the emails you sent in the past. So that's the first way. And then the second way is that we train a different algorithm to make different and small tweaks on the output on the text to make sure as well it sounds less AI generated, right? And by combining these 2 methods, like the quality is pretty good, and you can't tell it's AI. Like we submitted all of our content to like different tests you can find on the internet, and every time it's like 0% AI generated. So that's great.
That's awesome. Let me tell you. Okay, so before I started using it and I saw the ad for it and it piqued my attention because I was like, "Oh, it really does try to sound like you." But there was also still like I was like, "Okay, yeah, right. Let's see how it really goes, right?" And so I started using it. And here was the cool thing right off the bat. Before I got to any output, got to see any results or anything, the very first thing you do is you have this onboarding system with each and every single one of your assistants. So you're welcoming them onto your team, much like you would a real live human being, and you're giving them some parameters, some instructions. First of all, the fact that it scanned my website and like knew all this information about what I do as a business was like mind blowing. And then I was able to write email templates and things like that. So it started with me, with my business with my voice and all these things. And let me tell you, what there was a time, it was about 3 or 4 days ago, where the virtual assistant, Eva, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
she
yeah.
she responded to an email, right? She written a draft for an email
Yeah.
response. And I'm reading this thing and I'm like, dang got it. That's exactly how I sound. Like it was almost freaky because I just like, I don't need to change anything. This is amazing. She even used the right emojis that I would use. Like it was unreal how much it really did feel like me. And I also really liked that I still had the option to keep those things as a draft and like still tweak them before I actually sent them. So, oh my gosh, it makes me still feel like I'm leading the charge. It's still me. It's still my voice. So I really love how you guys have managed to do that. It's really remarkable. And the second concern of mine was with other things like ChatGPT or whatever. I would see like courses and things online about how to use it and, learn this over the weekend. I'm like, it feels like I'm still doing a lot of work to apparently save time. Like if I'm trying to learn how to prompt this and that, if I'm trying to research its results and make sure that they're valid, like where's the time saving? So um, but Marblism has also, I think, really allayed those concerns too. Like, I feel like I trust so much that Marblism puts out for me. How you mentioned the AI and how you have the algorithm, but how do you really make sure how are you so good at making sure that the results are really honest and truthful? It's amazing.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, it's a lot of hard work, but as you say, it's exactly one problem we really wanted to solve is, on your LinkedIn, on X, you see these people creating like crazy charts with like 150 nodes that are communicating to each other, and they want to sell you the system for like $5,000 or $10,000. And we wanted to do something that has a really good value for money, right? And exactly that you don't really need to master it or know how to prompt, etc. Because what we realize um, is that to know how to prompt an AI is pretty complex, actually. And so we want to do all this work of prompting it for you, right? So you don't have to prompt it, and they will be proactive, and that's the most important thing is that they are proactive, right? They don't wait for you to ask them to draft a reply to your email. They're going to do it by themselves.
Yeah.
And I think that's the key difference, right? Because when you prompt, it's still some work, right? And you are waiting in front of your computer for the AI to load and to
Right,
and
right.
and you don't want to do that. It still feels like work, even if it's working pretty well, right? So it was definitely a goal of ours that they are proactive, that you don't need to learn or know how to prompt, and good value for money, right? Where you don't have to take a $200 course to know how to use it, or we don't sell you the solution for like a crazy price, right? So that was the three constraint, right? We were trying to optimize the business for.
Yeah, and you guys did a remarkable job. I know that I was pleasantly surprised that once I signed up for it, I was invited to do some sort of onboarding session myself and actually learn a little bit more how to use it and everything. And it was very, very helpful. But it also allowed me to when I did my own onboarding then of my actual AI assistants. So as somebody who's hired, I've probably hired gosh, maybe 12 to 15 people, like 12 to 15 people over the last maybe 11 years. And so I'm familiar with what onboarding feels like. And it was very parallel to onboarding a human being, telling them what parameters to do and everything. So now, like with Stan, my sales guy, for example, I tell him what kind of leads I want
Mhm.
and then what time to serve them up to me during the day. It with Penny from my who's the blog writer, I could tell her what kind of blog ideas I'm looking for or how many to kind of suggest to me and what time to make those suggestions so that it works within my workflow. It just feels super parallel to working with an actual team of human assistants. And that actually brings up the third reservation I had to using AI. So as somebody who's hired people and I'm always looking to create jobs, and I've always felt like I think I'd be too feel too guilty hiring
Mm.
an AI assistant, a virtual assistant, rather than an actual human being. But the thing is, when I hired an actual human being assistant, there were a lot of flaws because they were an actual human being. And that just didn't work out. It wasn't cost effective. So then I thought, okay, I'm going to go with, instead of hiring myself someone, I'm going to go to an agency who's like really, really good at hiring great assistants. But then that was cost prohibitive to me. So I'm like, I can't win here. I'm just going to need to keep doing all this myself. And when I was using Marblism, the aha moment that I had was I don't need to feel guilty because these assistants, they're AI, but they're making me so efficient and they're building my business that at the end of the day, I'll be able to hire a human editor, for example, a human producer, for example. So it still allows me to create jobs in an even better fashion, I think. Are you seeing some of that similar response to the people who are starting to use Marblism? What are some of the impacts that you've seen?
Yes, so it's funny that you thought that because it's exactly our goal, right? Our goal is to target businesses where you wouldn't risk to hire like a marketing director for $7,000 because it's a lot of money, right?
Mhm.
But we are at like $39 per month, and it's a no-brainer. But of course, the goal is eventually to hire a marketing director because of course they're going to do a better job than our tool, right? Because it's $7,000. It's not $39, right? So our goal is to help businesses to reach that stage and to have enough help, even if it's AI, to reach that stage and hire like real human, right? And so it's funny because we receive essentially two different type of emails or like reaction. We have some people that email me saying, sadly, I let go of my virtual assistant. So that's one type of email we receive. And I don't know
Mhm.
how to take it because on one side, it proves that the product kind of works. But on the other side, it's pretty sad, right? Because
Mhm.
someone just let go of their virtual assistant. But we have other people that say, listen, I redirected my virtual assistant to work on more strategic work than just replying my emails. And so that's for me the best approach, right? Like if you had
Yeah.
already an executive assistant and you had um, enough money to pay for them, then you can reallocate their work to work on a higher level project or more strategic, decisions than just to filter your emails and almost act like a robot, right? And put a filter
Right.
or like write stuff that is very predictable. And so I prefer if you have already an executive assistant that you relocate, of course, her work to help you, scale your business even faster rather than letting them go, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
But also, I think, let's be realistic. Over the history of business and innovation and technology and everything, there are always jobs that exist and then they fade away due to increase in technology and everything. And no matter what we do, I believe very firmly is here to stay. It's going to keep going and growing, and it's going to keep affecting the kind of jobs that people can realistically have. But I've always kind of felt weird about that, but I'm been starting to see that in a much more positive light because, like you were just saying, you can take someone who was doing something that was maybe very robotic and limited their amount of creativity and skill building, and now you're putting them in a position where, whether it's with the same company, they are learning something new, or they go out and take a course and maybe better their career in that way so they can up the level of their skill set. So I think, listen, AI is going to create some of that disruption, but I think at the end of the day, it's going to lead people to higher paying jobs, higher skill sets, better experience overall, and at the same time, allowing businesses to continue to grow and flourish and hire them back, right? For different things. So I see it as nothing but a net positive now. Which honestly, a year ago, I would have like never imagined I would feel this way. And I still think I feel that way about 90% of the AI stuff I see out there. But Marblism just really has stood out to me to be very, very different. So I want to thank you for that. So we've talked now about how businesses can use Marblism to grow, but now I'm curious, and especially in terms of the content it can help businesses create. I mean, the blog posts are just phenomenal. Don't even get me started. Blog posts are go to flintstonemedia.com/blog. You'll be like, wow, this is amazing. It is. But I'm curious though, how has Marblism utilized content creation to grow itself? So, I mean, the first way that I became aware of Marblism was through a Facebook ad, right? So, how are you guys strategizing your own content in order to grow your business with Marblism?
Yeah, so essentially there are two ways we find customers. The first one is through Google. Like essentially, we use our self-Penny to write all of our blog articles, right? So we've got 60 of them on our website.
That's awesome. So that's
Um,
to touch on to SEO, search engine
yeah,
optimization.
SEO, search engine optimization, etc. Right? And so right now we are ranked number 6 when you Google AI employees, which is really good just on Penny by herself.
Go Penny.
Um, and uh, and it's been really good because it's a competitive keyword, right? And so most of our customers will find us all on Google. And then what works well as well is Facebook ads. And so that's why one of the next AI employee we want to launch will be Google AdWords and Facebook ads
Nice.
with videos, right? Because videos tend to work really well. The videos are a bit complex to do, especially in one shot, to create like a perfect video. So that's why it
Yeah.
takes a bit more time to develop. But that's the two next AI employees we want to launch.
Well, that's fantastic. I think one of the things I've noticed much more recent, like in the last week, I think I've seen a change, a little bit of a shift in the Facebook ads themselves. Like there was a time where I saw the same kind. They were all basically illustrations or animations, I should say, of the AI assistants themselves. You know, Eva looking like a boss on the screen, or Penny, or whatever, right? And now I'm also starting to see. It looks like ads where some of your users are now sharing how they've used Marblism and showing them scrolling and using it on their phone and whatnot. So is that like, are you doing some A/B testing with the different kinds of ads? Is that like who manages all that and what's the strategy behind that, if you don't mind?
Yeah, so I'm doing half of the ads, I'm doing it myself, and half of the others are done by an agency. And so we are testing like a lot of different variations. It's funny because what the agency told me, like normally in an ad, you're not supposed to talk about the product, you're supposed to talk about, the pain point.
Mhm, mhm.
On like, oh, do you want your business to scale, etc. But they were telling me with Marblism, what's unique is that if you talk about the product, it works. Like if you talk about AI employees, etc., you don't even have to talk about the pain points.
Oh, yeah, we
Um,
all know exactly what those pain points are.
yeah, so I found it funny. Yeah. So that's how we do it. Yeah.
And you guys have a really phenomenal price point. I mean, it's really easy to get started. Like I know that I was up and running within a day, and then
Mhm.
when you guys did the onboarding, and I got to see that session, and it gave me an idea to create a second workspace for Blender and the Blender community in the show that's separate. And it just was, again, very easy to set up a second set of AI assistants. So I guess my question is, you've mentioned that you're going to have Facebook and Google ads as the next assistants. Do you have anything else in the works? What's coming down the pipeline for Marblism?
Um, So it's just going to be more AI employees essentially. I think we have the foundation right, like the way the system works, etc. We are pretty happy with it. But the next one are going to be the AdWords and Facebook ads AI employees, and then the ability to have video generation for social media because as you know now video is everywhere, right?
Yeah.
And your content should be videos, and that's what works on TikTok and on Instagram. But video is very hard to generate, so that's why it's taking a bit to develop, because we want to generate like a perfect video, right? Because what's happening right now is that you can use AI to generate videos and they are great, but you still need to spend 2 hours on CapCut to edit all of these 8 seconds AI generated videos, put some subtitles, put some animation,
Yeah.
find the music, etc. And that takes 2 hours.
Yeah.
Um, and so we are trying, yeah, to find a way to basically create a video that is almost perfect and publishable like right now, that you don't have to tweak it for an hour. And
You know,
that's a
that
challenge. Yeah.
Yeah, that goes, like, right to the heart of one of my initial concerns was, yeah, AI is great, but I still feel like I have to do a lot of work. So I appreciate that you guys are thinking about the full scope of the process and making sure that you can automate as much of that as
Mm.
possible. So I guess my basic question is, how are you personally so familiar with all of these pain points? You're a businessman and entrepreneur yourself, and you've had teams and those kinds of things, I'm guessing?
Yeah, so I was running another business before starting that one. So it was a business in finance. We were helping people launch investment funds, like venture
Mm,
capital funds to invest into startups. That was a crazy complex business. We were dealing with like taxes, regulation, legal stuff,
lots of fun,
financial
I'm sure.
reporting. Like it was, it was very intense. And basically, I scaled that business to 65 employees and 5 million of revenue. Um, and so, I was a pure hustler. Like I was working 80 hours, 90 hours a week. And what really changed my life and what really helped me to manage my schedule, etc., was hiring virtual assistants. Right. So I had an executive assistant. She was amazing. And she was doing everything that Eva does now, right? And so that's
Yeah.
what gave me the idea. Essentially, I sold my previous business, and I wanted to do something to help people, like you, people like me, business owners, entrepreneurs, getting up to speed like faster, right, in their business. And so I design every single of these AI employees on exactly how I used to work with my virtual assistant, how I used to work with my LinkedIn ghostwriter that would
Yeah.
publish on my LinkedIn, right? Because I use the ghostwriter on LinkedIn. Um, and that's because I work so much with like virtual assistant and freelancer that I was able to design them in a way that was kind of working. So yeah,
Well, I personally wanna thank you for bringing such an amazing product to the market,
that's good to hear.
and
Thank you.
yeah, and for keeping in mind all of those concerns that people like me had and all of the needs that people like me had, and so I wish you nothing but the best of luck in continuing to grow this thing, and thank you for being so accessible too. So I really appreciate how much I can just email you and I get, well, maybe sometimes it's Eva, but may I hear back from you,
Often it's
and it's
Eva,
really awesome.
yeah.
It's really awesome. Thank you so much, Ulrich. Where can people find Marblism and get in touch and onboard themselves?
Marblism.com, or just Google Marblism. You can spell it however you'd like, and you're gonna
Eh,
find us on Google. So that's
fantastic. I'll definitely be putting a link in the show notes. Thank you, Ulrich.
thanks a lot for having me, Jamie. Really enjoy it.
We are the Blender community, where business and media mix.